Good evening, guys. Yes, so we'll get started. Okay. So what is the answer for the first question? EA is the electric field due to the dipole on its axial plane at distance L, and EQ be the field in the equatorial plane at a distance L. Then the relation between EA and EQ is, it's a simple question. EA is equal to 2 times EQ. So out of the following, which is not the properties of the field lines?
D, sir.
So what is that? So field lines are continuous curves without any breaks, correct? Field lines start from positive charge and two field lines cannot cross each other, correct? They form closed loops. It is not the property. Actually, the question should have been more specific, okay? What is the correction that can be made in the question? But here we are assuming it to be electric field lines. Had it been magnetic field lines, then this is right. You're able to understand? So here we are assuming it to be electric field line. So D. So wire is bent into a ring of radius R and is given a charge Q. The magnitude of the electric field at the center of the ring is. So there is a wire which is bent in the form of a ring and it has a charge Q. The electric fields are away from each other. So what will happen? The net electric field will get cancelled, and the answer is 0. Okay. Two infinitely long parallel conducting plates have surface charge densities plus sigma and minus sigma respectively, and they are separated by a small distance. The medium between the plates is vacuum. If epsilon naught is a dielectric permittivity of vacuum, then the electric field in the region between the plates is, it's a capacitor basically. So sigma by 2 epsilon naught, sigma by 2 epsilon naught, you add both, it will be sigma by epsilon naught. So if the potential difference across a capacitor is changed from 15 volt to 30 volt, work done is W. What will be the work done when the potential difference is changed from 30 to 60? So we know that work done is directly proportional to something. So here the change in potential difference across a capacitor. Potential difference across a capacitor means work done is equal to half CV square, right? So can I say that the work done is directly proportional to V square? Correct? So W1 would have been directly proportional to delta V square, and W2 will be directly proportional to delta V square, or I can call it as V1 and V2. So W2 divided by W1 will be equal to delta V2. Delta V2 is 30 square divided by delta V1 square is how much? 15 square. So this will be 2 square. Answer is 4. So it will become 4 times the work done. Six. So the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor is 5 microfarad. When the glass slab of thickness equal to the separation with the plates is introduced between them, then the potential difference reduces to 1 by 8 times its original value. Then the dielectric constant is. So what is the answer? Actually, you need not solve this question. And there is one unwanted data in this question. That is the capacitance. You don't need it at all. So what will happen when a what will happen to a capacitor's potential when there is a dielectric slab introduced between it of dielectric constant kappa? Its potential will drop by a factor of kappa. So what is the value of kappa here? Is it not 8? Next. In a parallel plate capacitor, the distance between the plates is D and the potential difference across the plates is B. Energy stored per unit volume between the plates of the capacitor is what? So what is the answer? U is equal to, so what is the energy stored per unit volume is called as the energy density. Energy density is half epsilon naught E square. Okay, but E is equal to potential gradient. So E is equal to V divided by D. Substitute it here. Half epsilon naught V square divided by D square. Right? 8.1. So there is a parallel plate air capacitor which is charged to a potential difference V volt. After disconnecting the charging battery, the distance with the plates of the capacitor is increased using an insulating handle. As a result, the potential difference between the plates will, what will happen to it? So what will happen, guys? So since they use the word insulating handle, what is going to be constant in both the scenarios? Charge. Right? So we know that Q is equal to CV. We can write V is equal to Q divided by C. So in the initial case, if I say V is equal to Q by C, In the final case, V will be equal to Q divided by C dash. Correct? So Q divided by what will happen to C dash once the distance between the plates is increased. We know that C is equal to epsilon naught A by D for a parallel plate capacitor. Right? What will be the relation? So distance between the plates is doubled. What will happen to the capacitance?
Half.
So they told is increased. So it will be epsilon naught A divided by D dash. So V dash divided by V is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught A divided by D dash divided by Q divided by epsilon naught A divided by D. This and this will get cancelled. This and this will get cancelled. So V dash divided by V is equal to D divided by D dash. So D is less than D dash. So this will be less than 1. V dash will also be less than. So it will decrease. One minute. V is equal to Q by C. So I need not have done this much. Let's try to make it simple. Okay, if this comes in exam. V dash is equal to Q divided by C dash. So C dash is decreasing or increasing? If the distance between the plates of the capacitor is increased, then C dash will decrease. If C dash decreases, V dash should increase. So this will be the answer. So ninth one, the answer is B. Sorry, eighth one, the answer is B. What about the ninth one? If two identical cells, when connected in series or parallel, supply the same amount of current through the external resistance of 2 ohm, the internal resistance of each cell is how much? So how to solve this? So there are two identical cells when they're connected in parallel. Sorry, when they're connected in series and it is connected across an external resistance of 2 ohm. If I say the EMF here is E and the internal resistance R and R. So what will be the value of current in the first case? Is it not 2E divided by 2 times small r plus 2? This value is equal to, what will be the EMF in the case of parallel connection? E divided by, what will be the equivalent resistance? It will be R by 2 plus 2. So E and E will get cancelled. So 2 times R by 2 plus 2 is equal to 2R plus 2. So R plus 4 is equal to 2R plus 2. R is equal to 2. This is the answer. I hope you guys got it right. 10th. In a Wheatstone's bridge, all the 4 arms have equal resistance, capital R. If the resistance of the galvanometer arm is capital R, then the equivalent resistance of the combination as seen by the battery is how much? Anybody?
R, sir.
So yeah, let's see. So all the 4 are R and this is R, correct? So what will happen?
It's balanced.
So it is balanced. So P by Q is equal to R by S. So since it is balanced, this galvanometer will become ineffective. R and R are in series. This R and R are in series. So 2R and 2R, they both are in parallel. Answer will be R. 11th one. If the electric resistance of a certain wire of iron is capital R, if its length and radius both are doubled, then the resistance, so what is the right option? Electrical resistance R is equal to rho into L divided by A.
B, sir.
Length is doubled, okay, 2L divided by 4 times R square. So what will happen? R dash will become half of R. So resistance will become half of R. Resistance will be halved and the specific resistance. So this 11th one, B is the right answer. If the electric current in a lamp decreases by 5%, then the power output decreases by. So electric lamp, lamp has resistance. So I will write P is equal to I square R.
Is it 25%?
25. I don't think it is 25. How did you get 25? They told decreases by. So initial power is I square R. Final power, I will call it as I dash square times R. So what is the decrease in the then the power output decreases by means what is the meaning? It is final minus initial P dash minus P divided by P into 100. That is the meaning. Okay. The electric current decreases. So what is the value of P dash, guys? I dash is how much? When the electric current has decreased by 5%, what will be the value of I dash? Is it not 0.95 times I? Can I write it these many times? I square times R?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when you solve this, when you take everything and substitute it here and solve, the answer that you will get will be 10. Okay. So that part, I'm leaving it to you. 13th, you have a proton and alpha particle which enter in a uniform magnetic field with the same velocity. The time period of revolution of the particle. So time period formula is 2 pi m divided by q into b. What will happen? Anybody with the answer? So T is equal to 2 pi m divided by q beta. So proton alpha particle is 2 pi times 2 times mass of proton. Sorry, 4 times mass of proton divided by what is the charge? 2 times mass of 2 times the charge of proton multiplied with b. Right? What are they asking? Time period of revolution of the alpha particle. So of the alpha particle is equal to, this will go 2 times. So 2 into 2 pi mp divided by qp into b. So this is nothing but time period of the proton. So time period of alpha particle is 2 times the time period of proton. So option this one. Please copy this. Okay. Next one. So there is a circular coil A that has a radius small a and the current flowing in it is I. Another circular coil B has a radius 2a, and if 2I is the current flowing through it, then the magnetic fields at the center of the circular coils are in the ratio. So what is the magnetic field due to a circular coil at its center? Mu naught I divided by 2R. So answer will be mu naught I divided by 2A. Then the magnetic fields at the center of the coils are in the ratio. So since the second number seems to be less, I'm assuming it is B2 by B1. Okay. So mu naught I divided by, or mu naught 2I divided by 2A divided by mu naught I divided by A. What is the answer, guys? That is the reason why they didn't ask which one is to which one. Answer is 1:1 because here 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Right? 15th one. There is a charged particle which is moving in a uniform magnetic field in a circular path with radius of capital R. When the energy of the particle is doubled, then the new radius is. So there is a charged particle which is moving in a uniform magnetic field in a circular path with radius capital R. Okay. The energy of the particle is doubled, then the new radius will be how much? So how to solve this? We know that R is equal to mv divided by qb. Or I can write root of 2mk divided by qb because linear momentum is equal to root of 2 times mass into kinetic energy. So R is equal to, I will say R is directly proportional to root k. So R dash will be directly proportional to root of k dash. So R dash divided by R is equal to k dash divided by k, whole thing under a root. So k dash is doubled. So this is 2 times k and k will get cancelled. R dash will be equal to root 2 times R. Answer is 15a.
Sir,
16.
can you say how you converted that?
Which one? mv to root 2 mk?
Yes.
Okay, simple. So mv, what is kinetic energy?
Half
Half
mv.
mv. Okay, half mv square is kinetic energy divided by mv. Can I write it as k divided by p? K stands for kinetic energy, v stands for linear momentum. M and m are gone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1 minute. Sorry. So k is equal to half mv square, right? So what I will do is I'll multiply with m and divide it with m. Correct? So this 2m into k, if I take it to the other side, is equal to m square v square. Can I write this as mv the whole square? What is mv?
Linear moment.
So p square is equal to 2mk. So p will be equal to root of 2mk. Okay. Since you asked, I will tell this. R is equal to mv divided by qb, or this is also equal to root of 2m into k divided by qb, or this can also be written as root of 2m into. Do you guys know that kinetic energy is equal to work done, right? So I can write it as E into V or Q into V, where Q is the charge of the particle, V is the potential difference across which the particle is moved. So sometimes you would have seen this equation also, but it is very rare. Root of 2m into qb divided by qb. If the q is electron, they will write it as ev divided by qb. So these are all the different formulae that you can use for the radius of an object when the particle is moving in a circular path. Okay, I hope you guys made a note of this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 16th one. A millivoltmeter of 25 millivolt range is to be converted into an ammeter of 25 ampere range. The value in ohm that is needed for the shunt. So what is the formula, guys? Voltage across the galvanometer divided by I is equal to galvanometer resistance into shunt resistance divided by the galvanometer plus shunt resistance. So Vg is how much? So this millivoltmeter they're trying to talk about is, you can take it as a galvanometer itself. Okay. So what is the value of Vg? So Vg is 25 into 10 power minus 3 divided by the current is 25 is equal to.
Sir, how can we take voltmeter as galvanometer?
Because this is what is converted. No? A millivoltmeter to the millivoltmeter only, you are connecting the shunt resistance and you are converting it to an ammeter. Correct? So that is why it is a galvanometer. See, you have a device in your hand, whatever that device is. That
Okay.
device has a pointer, so they don't have galvanometer in their hand at that point. So instead of galvanometer, they use millivoltmeter. And to a galvanometer, what are we supposed to do? You take a shunt resistance and connect it in parallel. Shunt is obviously something you connect it in parallel to this millivoltmeter, so that the whole combination acts like an
Ammeter.
you're able to understand. That is why I took this millivoltmeter as a galvanometer.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Yeah. Yeah. So that we can write E is equal to what I can do is I need to know what is the resistance of the galvanometer. They didn't give this, right? A millivoltmeter of 25 millivolt range is converted into an ammeter of 25 ampere range. So 25 ampere is a very, very, very big current. So G into S, 1 minute. So G into S divided by G plus S. Okay. So what will be the resistance of this galvanometer now? So what will be the approximate? Actually, this problem is based on approximation base. Because first of all, the approximation starts with a voltmeter being converted to a ammeter. So mark it as important problem and practice again. Listen, what is going to be the resistance of this galvanometer? Resistance of the galvanometer is equal to the amount is equal to R is equal to V divided by I. So V is how much? 25 into 10 power minus 3 divided by what is the full deflection current that is going to flow through it? It is 25. So this and this will get cancelled. It will be 0.001. So the value of G is 0.001. So this is 10 power minus 3. This can also be 10 power minus 3 into S divided by 10 power minus 3 plus S. Okay, so but 10 power minus 3, since it is a very, very, very small value, what you can do is 10 power minus 3 plus S can be approximated to 10 power minus 3 itself. Sorry, shunt resistance will be definitely lesser than the galvanometer's resistance, right? Do you guys know why we connect a shunt resistance?
Yes, sir.
So that you will make sure that maximum current is flowing through the shunt resistance and minimal value is flowing through the galvanometer, right? When that is going to be the case, the shunt resistance has to be even more less than this. So 10 power minus 3 will be equal to 10 power minus 3 into S divided by, this can be approximated to 10 power minus 3 itself. So this and this will get cancelled. So S will be equal to 10 power minus 3 ohm. And the answer is 0.001 ohm. And mark it as important. This is one of the problems where the galvanometer is directly not given and it is based on approximation. If this question comes in your exam, this is how you solve it. Okay, it is based on approximation. Please understand. So next one, we need not even solve 17th one. What is the answer?
B, sir.
That's it. 9.27 into 10 power minus 24 ampere meters. 18th. A current of I is equal to I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2 flows in a circuit across which an alternating potential of E is equal to E naught sine of omega t is applied. The power consumed in the circuit is how much? What is the power consumed in the circuit? You need not even solve it. The average power consumed is equal to ERMS into IRMS into cos phi. So what is the phase difference between this and this? It is pi by 2. So what is the average power consumed? It is 0. Okay. So if you guys know this, okay. If you don't know, note a point. Whenever there is a phase difference of pi by 2 existing between the voltage and the current, that is in the case of alternating EMF, the power consumed by that particular device is 0. What are the two devices where the phase difference will be 0? Sorry, pi by 2. One is a capacitor and the next is an inductor. Okay, so this kind of a current which consumes zero power is sometimes referred to as wattless current also. And I hope you know what is this cos phi. This cos phi is called as the power factor. Okay. 19th. If CL denote the capacitance and inductance respectively, the SI unit of L into C is how much? Sorry, the units of L and C, that is the dimensions is what they are asking. Dimensional formula. So we know that F is equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC. So root LC will be equal to 1 by 2 pi times F. So LC will be equal to 1 by 4 pi square F square. So the dimensional formula of L into C will be equal to the dimensional formula of the frequency raised to the power minus 2. So answer will be M0 L0 T minus 2. 19th one.
Sir, option A.
Option A. I made a mistake. 1 divided by second. So yes, yeah. It should be option A.
Sir, the power consumed is 0. That's because for alternating current, it is, in a complete circle, it is 0. Or like, how can we always have power consumed?
It is not always. It is only capacitor and inductor that will consume 0 power. Because the phase difference between the current and the potential difference in the case of capacitor inductor is 0. So the formula for average power in the case of this one, alternating current is ERMS into IRMS into cos phi. Okay, where that phi stands for what? Phi is the phase difference between the EMF and the current.
Yes.
Okay, so whenever the power consumed by any particular device, the average power consumed by any device is 0, that kind of a current is what we call it as wattless current.
Okay.
So that will happen only in the case of inductor and capacitor.
Okay, so for inductor and capacitor, it's always power is 0.
Power consumption is 0. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. 20. So there is a step-down transformer which is used on a 1000 volt line to deliver 20 ampere at 120 volt at the secondary coil. If the efficiency of the transformer is 80%, the current drawn from the line is. So what is the basic formula for efficiency? You have been studying about efficiency since last year. Efficiency is output power divided by input power. So what is the efficiency given? 80%. 80 by 100 is equal to. What is the formula for output power? 120. That power is V into I. So 120 into what will you get? Into I divided by input power is how much? 1000 multiplied with 20. So 0, 0 will get cancelled. This will go 2 times. This will go 30 times. This will go 50 times. This 1 0 gets cancelled. This will go 2 times. So I will be equal to 40 divided by 3. The step-down transformer is used on a 100 volt line to deliver 20 hours. So 20 ampere at 120 volt. 20 ampere at 120 volts. So current drawn is the input current they are asking. I made a mistake. Sorry, guys. So efficiency is 80 divided by 100. What is the output power? 20 ampere is appearing across the 120 volt line. So 240 divided by the input current would be 1000. Input power will be 1000 into I. So this and this will get cancelled. This will go 30 times. 1 0 gets cancelled. Another 0 gets cancelled. So I will be equal to 10 divided by 3. 10 divided by 3 is going to give you 3.33. So 20th one, the option is A. Okay. 21st. In an AC circuit containing only capacitor, the current
leads voltage by 90 degrees.
Correct. The phase difference between the flux linked with a coil rotating in uniform magnetic field and induced EMF produced in it. See, what is flux? BA cos theta. Induced EMF is d phi by dt, right? Which will be BA sin theta into d theta by dt. So what is the phase difference between them? Here it is cos theta, here it is sin theta. So what is the phase difference between flux and EMF? Sin and cos of pi by 2. That's the answer. So 23rd. There is a straight line conductor of length 0.4 meter, which is traveling with a speed of 7 meter per second, perpendicular to the magnetic field of intensity 0.9 Weber per meter square. I hope you know that Weber per meter square is the same as Tesla. The induced EMF across the conductor. So what is this example? It's an example of motional. So what is the answer? B into L into V. So 0.9 into 7 into 0.4. So 9 into 7, 63. So 63 into 4, last digit should be a 2. The option should either be B or C. What is the right answer? It is C actually. I hope you're able to understand how I'm eliminating, right? The other options.
Yes, sir.
So 24th. There is a magnetic field of 2 into 10 power minus 2 Tesla, which acts at right angles to a coil of area 100 centimeters square with 50 turns. The average EMF induced in the coil is 0.1 when it is removed from the field at time t. The value of t is how much? B is equal to 2 into 10 power minus 2 Tesla. Area of the coil is 100 into 10 power minus 4 meters square. Number of turns is 50. The average EMF consumed is 0.1 volt when it is removed from the field in time t. So t is equal to how much? So the change in flux is happening during this time interval t. So since they told the magnetic field is acting at right angles to the area of the coil, then what can we say? Theta value is, so for flux, how much should I take the theta value as? BA cos theta is there, right? Theta, how much should I take? We should take it as
0 degrees.
0 degrees. Just by looking at right angle, don't get confused. Right angle to the area. But the areal vector and magnetic field will be parallel. Okay. So E is equal to N into delta phi divided by delta T. So 0.1 is equal to N is 50 into the change in flux is nothing but B into A. That is 2 into 10 power minus 2 into 100 into 10 power minus 4. The whole divided by the time. This is what we need to find. So 100 into 100. So this is 10 power 4 into 10 power minus 2 into 10 power minus 4 divided by t is equal to 10 power minus 1. This and this will get cancelled. So t will be equal to 10 power minus 1. That is 0.1 seconds. Let me check if this is the answer. 24. The option is D, correct. So 25th. If n is the number of turns in the coil, the value of the self-inductance varies as. So what is the formula for self-inductance? L is equal to mu naught capital N square A divided by L, or L is equal to mu naught small n square A into L. Okay. So self-inductance and the number of turns, how are they related? Directly proportional to N square. Okay. So these are all the questions based on understanding and remembrance. Next are problems. So there is an electric field in the x direction. If the work done in moving the charge is 0.2 coulomb through the distance of 2 meters along the line making an angle of 60 degrees with the x-axis is 4 joule, then what is the value of E? Please do it fast and tell me, no? So how did you guys do it? There is an electric field in x direction. If the work done in moving a charge of 0.2 coulomb through a distance of 2 meters along the line making an angle 60 degree with the x-axis is 4 joules. So what is the formula for work done? Work done is equal to force into displacement into cos theta. So 4 joules is done. What is the formula for F? F is equal to Q into E. So 0.2 into E. And what is the displacement that has occurred? 2 into cos 60 is half. This and this will get cancelled. So E will be equal to 4 divided by 0.2 or 40 divided by 2. Answer is 20. Is there anyone who didn't understand what I did? F is equal to QE. Q is 0.2 into E into cos theta. Theta is the angle between the force and the displacement. And that is given as 60 degrees. Right. Next. (27th). If a charge Q is placed at the center of the line joining the two charges capital Q such that the system is in equilibrium, then the value of Q is. So there are two charges, capital Q and capital Q, and there is another charge, small q, which is placed at the center of the line joining them. Then the total force acting on the system is supposed to be, right? So I can write kq square divided by d square is equal to k into q into capital Q. Okay, I can say since the system is in equilibrium, let's put it like this. Sorry. So the net force experienced by this is 0. So due to plus q, it will experience a force in this direction. Due to the small q, it should actually experience a force in the opposite direction. But for the time being, I'm assuming that both the forces are acting the same direction. So 1 divided by 4 epsilon naught into q square divided by d square plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into q into capital Q divided by d square by 4 should be equal to 0. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is gone, capital Q is gone, d square is gone. So Q plus 4 times small q is equal to 0. So Q will be equal to minus capital Q divided by 4. This is a very famous problem. Mark it as.
So you're taking the forces between the bigger charges and then smaller.
What I'm trying to do is I'm saying see how many charges are there? 3 charges, right? So out of the 3 charge, 1 charge should experience the force due to the other 2 charges, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what I did is I took A, B, and C. I told that the net force experienced by the particle at C due to the charges at A and B is 0. That's what I did.
Okay, sir.
Understood? Yeah. So 28. The electric field between the plates of a fully charged capacitor is E. If the material of dielectric constant K is introduced between the plates, the electric field at the point between the plates will. This is a theoretical question actually. So what will happen to the net electric field inside a dielectric? The electric field will decrease by a factor of kappa. So the answer is for 28.1, it is. You need not even sit and solve, okay? These are all some theoretical questions which you can have in your mind and solve it. So 28.1, the answer is C. That is, it becomes E divided by K. So 29th, the capacity of a condenser is 4 into 10 power minus 6 farad and its potential is 100 volt. The energy released on discharging it fully will be. It's a simple question again. So the energy that will get released on discharging it is nothing but the complete energy that is stored in it. So it is half CV square. Half into C is 4 into 10 power minus 6 into V square is 10 power 4. This and this will get cancelled. So 2 into 10 power minus 2. So 2 into 10 power minus 2 is 0.022. Let me check if it is right. So 29, the answer is B, correct. Next, 30th one. If the potential difference between the plates of a capacitor is increased by 0.1%, the energy stored in the capacitor increases by? If the potential difference between the plates of a capacitor is increased by 0.1%, then the energy stored in the capacitor increases by what factor? So same logic. Initially, the potential difference is V. V dash is equal to how much? V plus 0.1 by 100 times V. 0.1% increment increased by. Okay. So initially the energy stored in the capacitor is half CV square. Finally, the energy stored in the capacitor will be half CV dash square. So this is U initial, this is U final. So how do you calculate the increase in energy? Increase in energy is U final minus U initial divided by U initial into 100. Okay. So this slightly a higher order thinking level question. Okay. So from this, what I want you to take is the idea. See, this is the idea we are discussing twice. Correct? We discussed this idea twice today. Whenever they ask you about the increase or decrease, it is always final minus initial divided by initial into 100. Okay. So on solving this, what will you get is? You will get the answer as 0.2%. Next. 31st. So there is a 60 watt incandescent lamp which operates at 120 volt. The number of electrons passing through the filament per second. So what is the meaning of number of electrons passing per second? It is basically current. So power is given 60. Potential difference is given as 120 volt. So how will you find the value of current? Current is equal to 60 divided by 120, that is half. So number of electrons passing per second will be how much? So this is 1/2 ampere. Right? This is 1/2 ampere. And I can say this as N into E divided by T is equal to half. This N divided by capital T, I can call it as small n. So small n into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 is equal to half. So n will be equal to 1 divided by 3.2 into 10 power minus 19. That is 10 power 19 divided by 3.2. How much is the answer? So it should be 1 divided by 3.2 into 10 power 18. So what will be the answer? So that should give you an answer of 3.1.
B, sir.
That's right. So 32. In the circuit shown, if a conducting wire is connected with the points B and D, then the current to the wire will be. So current to the wire will. So what is the answer? So I need to know the direction. They asked about B and D, right? We need to know which one is at higher potential. How do we find which one is at the higher potential? So what is the total current supplied by the battery? Actually, circuit shown if the conducting wire is connected between the points B and D, then the current in the wire will be. Okay, initially before B and D are connected, what will happen to this current? This current will go through this resistor and it will go here, right? So what is the current in branch is above, that is ABC. So what is going to be the current in that branch? So we know that the potential difference between A and C is V, right? So current in the branch ABC, if I call it as I1, is equal to how much, guys? Potential difference divided by the total resistance, V divided by 8. Right. Similarly, what is the current in branch? I'll tell you what I'm doing. Current in the branch ADC is how much? I2 is how much? V divided by 4. I hope you are clear till this point, right?
Yes, sir.
But I am interested to know what is the exact potential at point B and what is the exact potential at point D. Okay. So can I say that the potential difference between A and B, if I take this single resistor of 4 ohm, if I apply Ohm's law, VA minus VB, can I call it as I1 into 4? So I1 is V by 8 into 4, that is V by 2. So potential difference between A and B is V by 2. Similarly, what is VA minus VD? It is I2 into 1. That is also, that is V by 4. So VA minus VD is V by 4. Now subtract both. If I subtract both, I'll get minus VB plus VD is equal to minus V by 2. Sorry, V by 4. So which one is at a greater potential? So VD minus VB is a negative value. So which one is at higher potential? So VD minus VB is negative value. So B is at higher potential. So the current will flow from B to D. Wait, I think we made a mistake, right? This is plus V by 4. Because it is V by 2 minus V by 4. V by 2 minus V by 4 is plus V by 4. So sorry. Which one is at greater potential?
D, sir. So the flow
Sorry.
from D to B, right?
Flow from D to B is, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Okay. So 33rd. This is also a good problem. But most importantly, I want you all to understand the concept that we are discussing. So the effective resistance between the points A and B. 2, 6. 2 and 6 are in parallel. 2, 6, 2, 6. 2 and 6 are in parallel. So the resistance of this particular branch will be 2 into 6 divided by 2 plus 6. That is 12 divided by 8. That is 3 by 2. So 3 by 2 plus 3 by 2 plus 3 by 2 is 9 by 2. 9 by 2 is 4.5. Just give me a minute. I'll be back. The charge is less in my device. I'll be back. Now we'll do the next one. So there is a proton and an alpha particle which follow the same circular path. Means their radius is the same in a transverse magnetic field. Transverse means perpendicular. Their kinetic energies are in the ratio. So we know that R is directly proportional to root K. Since I told you, right, in a previous problem we discussed R is equal to root of 2mk divided by qb. So since the radius is same in both the cases, what will be the ratio of their kinetic energy? What will be the answer? Is it not 1:1? So you need not even solve this problem. 35th. There is a wire of given length is first bent in one loop and the next is bent into 3 loops. If the same current is passed in both the cases, the ratio of the magnetic field induction at their centers will be. So the one loop, I am taking it to be circular loop, okay? Ratio of the magnetic field induction, okay. Wire of length is first bent into one loop, okay. Actually, they should have mentioned the loop. Okay, as of now, you can take it as circular loop. Let's try to do this specifically and see. This is also a good problem. Yeah. So what will be the magnetic field in the first case? B1 is equal to it will be mu naught I divided by 2 times R. What will be the answer in the second case? It will be 3 times mu naught I divided by 2 times R dash. Correct? So the wire has a fixed length L. So in the first case, what is happening? L will be equal to 2 pi R, which implies R is equal to L by 2 pi. Take this and substitute it here. So B1 is equal to mu naught I divided by 4 pi R. In the second case, what is happening? L is equal to 6 pi R dash. So R dash will be equal to L divided by 6 pi. Take this and substitute it here. So B2 will be equal to 3 times mu naught I divided by 2 into L divided by 6 pi. And this will get cancelled 3 times. So this will become 9. Oh, this is R up. Yeah. So it will become 9 times mu naught I divided by pi into L. Here it is mu naught I divided by pi into L. What did they ask? They asked magnetic induction at their centers are in the ratio. Ratio of the magnetic field induction at their centers. So what will be the ratio? So here B1 is to B2 is how much? Is it not 1:9? So the option will be 1. See, listen to this point carefully, okay? They told the ratio of the magnetic field induction at their centers, right? When they use the word there, take it as 1:2. Okay. If they want 2:1, they will mention it in the question.
Sir, are you speaking?
So we can't hear you.
Sorry guys, I had some network issue. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what was the last problem that you could hear?
So 35th problem we could hear, 36 we couldn't.
Should stop other screen sharing. Yes. 30?
36 we didn't hear, sir.
Okay, 36. Okay, 36 is simple, ma. 36 is R is equal to mv divided by qb. You know the mass of the electron, speed of the electron is there, charge is known, magnetic field is what you need to find. So they have given the radius also. Radius is 0.35. So you take B to the other side, substitute everything. The answer comes out to be 2.11 into 10 power minus 5 Tesla. Okay. Similarly, 37th problem, if you take, mass of proton is given. The proton enters a magnetic field of 2 Tesla at an angle of 30 degrees with the direction of field. The velocity of the proton is 2 into 10 power 7 meter per second. The radius of the path described by the proton is how much? So we know that whenever a charged particle is projected at an angle theta with respect to magnetic field, radius is R is equal to mv sine theta divided by qb. Right. So all the values are given, just substituted. And when you calculate the value, the radius comes out to be 5 centimeters. Okay. Give me a confirmation. Okay. There is a lot of network issue that is happening. I hope you could hear this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. Angle of dip is 90 degrees at. Theoretical question. It is 90 degrees at the poles. What about the equator? The angle of dip is 0 degrees. If you don't know this, please make a note. So current in a circuit falls from 5 to 0 ampere in 0.1 seconds. If an average EMF of 200 volt is introduced, the self-inductance will be equal to how much? So L is equal to how much? E divided by delta, E divided by di by dt. Or delta I by delta t also you can write. So self-inductance is what you need to find. L is equal to EMF is 200 divided by delta I is how much? 5 divided by delta t is 0.1, that is 1 by 10. So it will be 2000 divided by 5, which is going to be 400. 400. This is a very, very big value. But there is no option, no? An average EMF of 200 volt. I don't think 200 volt. This question, you should get marks.
It is in terms of Henry, sir.
Yeah. So E divided by delta I by delta T. So volt divided by ampere per second is Henry only. Huh? It is coming out as 400. 400 NT is a very, very big value. Okay, there should have been some mistake. You will get marks for this question. Just a minute. Those who have attempted this question, you will get marks. So 39 question. Okay. Next. The coefficient of mutual 39. One minute. I didn't do any calculation mistake, right?
Sir, I think it's 200 by 50.
Yes, no.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake. 200 divided
The 1 by 10 will
5
go
divided
up.
by 5 divided by 10 power minus 1. It will go up. No, 50. So it is 4 Henry. 4 Henry is correct. Okay. So for 40th, the coefficient of mutual inductance when the magnetic flux is 2 into 10 power minus 2 Weber and the current changes by 0.01 ampere in 1 second. It's the same logic. Instead of L, you will write M. M is equal to okay. So what is the formula for mutual inductance? So M is also equal to E divided by delta I by delta T. Okay. E is how much? The coefficient of mutual magnetic flux. Magnetic fluxes. So when magnetic flux of this much value and current changes.
So can we not use L equals N phi B by T?
What will you use? Del phi by?
Del phi by I.
Actually, you can use this because EMF divided by del I by delta T, right? If time is given. So what we can do is E, can I write it as delta phi by delta T divided by delta I by delta T. So delta phi is 2 into 10 power minus 2 divided by 0.01. Now how much is the answer? So 2 into 10 power minus 2 into 10 power 2. This and this will get cancelled. Answer will be 2 Henry. Did you understand what I did?
Yes,
I
sir.
wrote.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So delta phi by delta I. Yes, that is 2 Henry, correct. For an LR circuit shown in the figure, the phase angle if the frequency is F is equal to 100 by pi. F is equal to 100 by pi phase angle. So how to find the phase angle? Tan phi is equal to XL divided by R. XL is omega into L divided by R. Omega is 2 pi F into L divided by R. So this will be 2 pi into what is the value of F? F is 100 divided by pi into L is 0.025 divided by R is 5. This and this will get cancelled. 200 into 0.025 divided by 5. So 2 zeros gone. So 2 into 2.5 divided by 5. This will be 0.5. 0.5 into 2 is 1. So tan theta is equal to 1. Theta is 45 degrees. Yeah. Okay. 42nd. In the AC circuit, the current is expressed as I is equal to 100 into sine of 200 pi t. In this circuit, the current rises from 0 to peak value in how much time? So what is the time period? Time period is equal to 2 pi divided by omega. Omega is 200 pi. Cancel it. 1 divided by 100. So 1 divided by 100 is the time period. So from 0 to peak, how much time does it take? It will take t by 4 seconds. So answer will be
1 by 400.
1 by 400 seconds. Sure, yeah. A 200 ohm resistor is connected in series with a 5 microfarad capacitor. The voltage across the resistor is VR is equal to 1.2 into cos of 205t capacitive reactance. So capacitive reactance is equal to 1 divided by omega into C. Omega is given. But that is the voltage across the resistor. Capacitive reactance. Yeah. So 1 divided by 2500. Okay. So though the value is given for VR, what will happen is for VR, this magnitude might change, but this frequency will not change. Okay. So 1 divided by 2500 into capacitance is how much? 5 into 10 power minus 6. How much will you get, guys? So 10 power 6 divided by 25 into 10 power 2 into 5. So this will cancel it 4 times. 100 into 100 divided by 25 into 5. This will go 4 times. This will go 20 times. 20 into 4 is 80. Okay, 44th. So there is a hairdryer which is designed to work for 110 volt and 60 hertz, generally US. And they want to use it in India. But in India, what happens? 220 volt is supply. Then the number of turns ratio for the transformer would be. What is turns ratio? The number of turns ratio or transformer ratio is called as NP divided by NS. So NP divided by NS is output voltage divided by, that is the 220 value divided by 110. So what will be the answer? It will be 2:1. So you need to use a step. One minute. You need to use a step down transformer. 3:1 illa. 1:2 and 2:1 are there. Yeah, you need to use a step down transformer with turn ratio of 2:2. See, 45th onwards theory, guys. Can we make it a little faster? There is a point charge which is lying at the center of a cube of side L. The electric flux emanating from the surface is 1/6 of the total flux. Correct or wrong?
Correct, sir.
Correct. According to Gauss law, total electric flux through a closed surface enclosing the charge is equal to 1/epsilon naught times the magnitude of charge enclosed. Correct or wrong?
Correct.
What is the right thing?
A.
Option A.
Option A is not right. Option B is right, because try to understand. I know what is the confusion you will have. Whenever you are solving assertion reason problem, right, the trick to be had in your mind is treat assertion as a separate problem, treat reason as a separate problem. Okay. So when you solve this mainly occurs only for the options between A and B. Listen to this carefully again. When you treat them as separate problems, you have to see if the individual statements are right. Individually, those two problems are right. But what is the subject they are trying to talk in the first one? In the first one, the subject is a cube. In the second one, the subject is not the cube. It is a Gauss law. Right? It is a closed surface. It can be anything. Right? So individually, they both are right. But the reason is not supporting the assertion. Because in reason, nowhere they spoke about cube. So that is why the option is B. Okay, this confusion will arise only for the option A and B. I hope you understood, right? Everyone is clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Right?
So we can relate cube as a closed surface, right? So
no, cube, see, that is a more generic thing. Cube is a closed surface. That's what Gauss law states. Correct? But here, the right reason for supporting this would have been, why are you actually getting that 1/6? Because cube has 6 surfaces. But there are other closed surfaces which can have more than 6 surfaces also.
okay, sir.
Understood? So the subject in both the context should match. When will this occur? When both assertion and reason are true. If one of them is false, then you can go with option C or D. But this confusion will arise between A and B. Be careful. Okay, using the same logic, tell me what is the answer for 46. A parallel plate connector is, capacitor is connected across a battery through a key. A dielectric slab of constant K is introduced between the plates. The energy which is stored in the box becomes K times. Correct? Is it right? See, these are the points, okay? When a capacitor is inserted between the plates of a capacitor, its capacitance becomes kappa times. Okay? Electric field decreases by kappa times and voltage remains the same provided the key is connected. Okay? Key is connected means when it is a closed circuit, this is what happens. Okay? Now what will happen? Tell me. What is the energy? Half CV square. So half into C is kappa into C times V square. So what is the final energy? Is it not kappa times the initial energy half CV square? So
Yes,
this statement is true. This statement is true. The surface charge density on the plates of the capacitor remains constant or unchanged. Is that right? That is wrong because charge will start changing. So A is true, but R is false. This is the meaning. Okay. 47. The torque on a coil is maximum when the coil is suspended in radial magnetic field. What do you mean by radial magnetic field? So this radial magnetic field comes in which concept? Where did you hear this word? Radial magnetic field. It comes in the case of a galvanometer. Correct? So why is radial? This used to be a very famous question when there was subjective. Why is there a radial magnetic field present in a galvanometer? Can someone answer it? So that the magnetic field and the areal vector, the magnetic field and the area of the coil were always perpendicular to each other. Okay, so that you can always maintain maximum torque. If you see, what is the formula for torque? Torque is equal to NIBA, right? Actually, it is NIBA sin theta. Because of the concept of radial magnetic field, theta becomes 90 degrees. That is why you see NIBA will be equated to K into phi, where K is called as the torsional constant, phi is called as the deflection that has occurred. I hope you guys remember this, right? Divided into A. The amount of current flowing per unit deflection. Ampere per division will have a name. Division per ampere will have a name. Right? So this I divided by phi is generally called as figure of merit. Phi divided by I is called as current sensitivity. Do you guys remember all those things? Yes or no? Right? All those things are occurring only because of this keyword, radial magnetic field. So radial magnetic field means theta is equal to 90 degrees. In that case, maximum torque is obtained. Okay. So the torque tends to rotate the coil about its own axis. Right. That is the torque which is actually putting the object into revolution. Is it right or wrong? This is also true. So both the statements are true, but this is where the trick starts. What did I say you are supposed to do? Look at the subject. In the first context, they are speaking about radial magnetic field. In the second context, they are speaking about torque. Okay. So the right reason to the statement would have been, due to the radial magnetic field, the value of theta would have been 90 degrees or perpendicular. Hence, the torque is maximum. So in this case, what is happening? Individually, they both are right, but the reason is not supporting the assertion. Okay. 48. A conducting rod is moving in a uniform magnetic field such that the length of the rod, its velocity, and the magnetic field are mutually perpendicular. Then an EMF will be induced between the ends of the rod. Correct? What is the name of this EMF? Guys, are you there? So, what is the name of this EMF? This is motional EMF. It is true. As the rod moves, as stated, free electrons in it will experience a magnetic force towards the ends of the conductor. Is that right or wrong?
True,
as the rod moves, free electrons. It is true. Right? This is happening because of the Lorentz force. And when this is happening and all the electrons get drifted to one end of the conductor, there is a potential difference created. So what is happening? Statement is true, reason is true. And in this case, what is happening? The reason is
correct explanation.
Correct explanation for the statement. I hope you guys are able to differentiate, right, between A and B. 49. So there is a bulb which is connected in series with the solenoid, is connected to an AC source. If you have a soft iron core which is introduced in the solenoid, the bulb will glow brighter. Is that right? Answer is right or wrong? Yes. False. Can someone tell me there is an example problem in your textbook in alternating current? I think it is the third example. Go and check it. So if this is there, you have a resistor and an inductor. Okay, solenoid, basically they are trying to say it's an inductor. So when you try to introduce a soft iron core into this, are you increasing the permeability of the material or decreasing the permeability of the solenoid? Are you increasing or decreasing? If you introduce a soft iron core, you're increasing or decreasing the permeability of the solenoid. Permeability means the ability of that material to get magnetized more.
Increasing.
You're increasing it because soft iron is a magnetic substance. By doing that, what will happen to the inductance? We saw a formula L is equal to mu naught N square A into L. This instead of mu naught, what will happen? You will have mu, which is the permeability of the material, into N square A into L. So L is directly proportional to permeability. So what will happen? The inductance of this material will increase. So inductance is something similar to resistance. Correct? So what did they do? To this kind of a series connection, they connected a bulb. Now, resistor is as it is. This inductor is there. No, if the inductance, that is the resistance of that inductor, is increased, what will happen to the flow of the current through the circuit? Will it decrease or increase? If you increase the resistance value of any device, will the current be able to flow smoothly?
No, sir.
No, right? So what is happening? Inductance is increasing. As a result of which, the net resistance is increasing. Hence, the bulb will glow dimmer. It will not be able to glow brighter. That is why it is false. So now see what is happening. On introducing a soft iron core in the solenoid, the inductance increases. Accepted? So what is the right statement? What is the right answer for this? Assertion is false, and the reason is 50th. 1 minute, guys. a point charge plus Q is placed at the midpoint of a cube of side L, the electric flux emerging from the cube is. It's a simple direct question. You need not even think. What is the answer?
Q by epsilon.
So each of the 2 point charges are doubled and the distance is halved. The force of interaction between becomes n times, where n is how much? So there
60.
are 2 point charges where the charges are doubled, 2q and 2q, and the distance is halved, r by 2. So F is equal to, it become 4q square divided by r square by 4. So the 4 goes up, n is 16. Correct. So next one is very simple. When a rectangular loop PQRS of side A, B, C, okay, A and B, carrying current I placed in uniform magnetic field B, all these things are stories only. We'll directly go to the problem. Okay. A circular loop of area 1 centimeter square carrying a current of 10 amperes is placed in a magnetic field of 0.1 Tesla, perpendicular to the plane of the loop. The torque on the loop due to the magnetic field is torque is equal to. So magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane of the loop. So torque is equal to Ni AB sin theta. So this is the magnetic field. Magnetic field is in this direction, but the plane is like this. So what will be the torque, guys? What is the answer? So there is a circular loop carrying a current displaced in a magnetic field. Okay. So there is a circular coil placed perpendicular to the magnetic field. So aerial vector and magnetic field, they both are in the same direction. So what is the value of theta? So theta is 0, answer will be 0. So relation between magnetic moment and angular velocity. Magnetic moment is equal to I into A. Magnetic moment is equal to I into A. I into, how can I write the area as? So here, 1 minute. Are they talking only about the circular loop, magnetic moment, or current loop? Directed in this direction. Okay. So what we need to do is you will take a circular loop and solve it here. So if I take it as a circular loop, area is pi r square. Okay. So how can I write current as current is equal to Q divided by the time period into pi r square? But how is time period defined as? It is 2 pi by omega. So Q into pi r square divided by 2 pi by omega. Omega comes up. So M is directly proportional to omega. That is the answer. So if you have a current loop in a magnetic field, a current loop in a magnetic field can be in equilibrium in 2 orientations. Both the equilibrium states are unstable. Can be in equilibrium in 2 orientation, one stable while the other is unstable. Experiences a torque whether the field is uniform or non-uniform in all orientations, can be in equilibrium only in one orientation. So what is the answer?
Option B.
Option B. What are the two equilibria they are trying to talk about?
Stable and unstable equilibrium.
One stable and unstable. The magnetic moment of a current, I carrying circular coil of radius small r and radius, the number of turns capital N varies as. So M is equal to N into I into A. N into I into A is pi r square. So M is directly proportional to r square. That's it. I think you would have not had the last question. So last question was a rectangular coil carrying current I is placed in a non-uniform magnetic field. On that coil, the total, what will happen? Rectangular coil is a dipole. When you place a dipole in a non-uniform field, what will happen? It will experience a non-zero flux.
Sir, how are you saying rectangular coil is dipole?
Any current carrying coil is a dipole. If you see the word current carrying coil itself, it means a dipole. It's a magnetic dipole. Okay, because see, when the current, you have a current carrying coil, right? You're able to see the current now, right? In this coil, what is the direction in which current is flowing?
Clockwise. Okay, sir. South and north pole is generated.
You're able to understand this? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So coil is this thing. Wherever you see the word conductor, it's an open conductor. That is a meaning. So that's it. Any other doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, then we can wind up. Let's see what.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.